Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. This program is supported by San Juan Health Partners Urology, providing a wide range of personalized services for the whole family, including children. Our caring professionals are dedicated to helping meet your urology health needs with skill, experience, and service you need. For a complete listing of our services and to learn more, visit sanjuanhealthpartners.com or call 505-609-6300. San Juan Health Partners Urology, a division of San Juan Regional Medical Center. Well, without any further ado, let me introduce my guests who are here with me this morning to help us make sense of the real estate market, and that would be Randy and Leslie Granger. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you, Scott.
Good to see you both. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
I like your choice of words, making sense of the real estate market.
Right.
We prefer to make dollars of the real estate
Well,
market.
let's hope we maybe do that too. And of course, we know there are tons and tons of real estate professionals in the community, but I chose you guys because, full disclosure, you helped me buy my recent house, so I thank you very much for that.
You.
And I was hoping that, again, you both can help us figure out what's going on, whether we're buying or selling or just looking at all the for sale signs around town.
And I'd love you started with all the different things that are going on in
Yes.
San Juan County because people say, what's
There's
there
nothing
to
to do.
do here?
Oh,
And
nothing.
there's tons to do.
Always tons to
Yeah.
do. That's true.
Yeah.
So
So
hopefully
good-
that word is getting out.
Good place to buy a house right now and
Right.
sell a house, and we'll give you some tips later on about how to do that the best way.
Okay. Well, good. I hope we can. And but the market is changing. Is that a fair statement?
I think it is.
Randy?
It's changing, but it's also kind of staying the same, which
Well,
is
no, that's just
contradictory.
confusing. Come on now.
Up and down.
Up and down. Right.
But realistically, our market has been pretty much steady for the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple of years that were just a little bit up, and the last couple of years have been just a little bit down. And I'm talking primarily about median sale price and number of sales, things like that. When one door closes, another one opens. What we could do is kind of give some general advice if people are going into the market to buy, and then maybe some general advice for those who are going into the market to sell.
Sure. Well, and I think it's obvious what we see now is there's a lot of houses on the market.
Yes. Though not as many as there were last year at this time, interestingly. But we have fewer buyers in the market, too. So,
Interesting.
So
Okay.
it's very competitive out there for sellers.
Right. And Randy, I know you kind of analyze all the data, and I get a...
He's our master statistician.
I know.
Boy, that's a hard word to say.
I get like a quarterly email from
I'm
you.
about as good as statistizing as
Yeah.
Leslie is
Yes.
at saying statistician.
I
There you
know.
go.
So he does a nice brief little, what's happening in the market every month. We get the stats at about the 12th day of the month. So every month he looks at that. We send that out. We have a database. We send it to people, buyers and sellers who we've been in contact with. And if anyone wants that, they can, of course, email us or go to our website, and we'll get them
can
that
add them to the
report.
list.
Yeah, add them to the list because
Okay.
it's interesting. He tries to keep it upbeat and light and really to the point. It's not a long drawn out email.
Right. Okay. But in a market like this, so if I'm looking to sell and I know that there are lots of other houses that are on the market, how do I make mine stand out? Because if I need to sell, unless I need to sit on it for a while, I mean, I guess that's the thing, right? Depends on your seller, what their situation is.
Well, exactly. We found that sellers who say, I really don't need to sell, are the ones who are not going to sell.
Aha. Right.
You've got to want to sell your house and be ready to do what it takes.
Motivated.
Right.
You've got to be motivated.
Okay.
It's still generally a buyer's market. And what that means is whichever sellers are most competitive are the ones that are going to sell their houses the soonest and get the most for it, frankly. If I were going to sell a house in this market, if we were going to sell our house right now, if we were ready to do it, we would probably have a pre-inspection. That would be a good thing to do.
They run about $4.25, $4.50. There are
Okay.
a lot of good home inspectors in the market. Now there's a new bill. They have to be licensed. They never had to be licensed before, and starting next year they will have to be licensed
In New
the
Mexico.
state. In New Mexico, right?
And that tells a potential buyer what? Someone's already looked at this house and...
Well,
and-
first,
First, what does it tell the
seller.
seller?
Okay.
The seller has something to look at there to find out anything that needs remedying right away.
I see.
Before they even put it on the market. If it's something really important, an active water leak, for example. Let's say there are shingles missing on the roof. We
Peeling
could go on
paint,
and on with
yeah.
peeling paint. They'll take that inspection, and these reports can be 35 to 40 pages long, sometimes even longer than that. But what you can do is go through there, remedy the things that are critical so that they don't become a sales challenge in the mind of a buyer. And then when you're negotiating things like price and various other elements through the course of a transaction, you at least know where you stand in terms of what you might need to repair, what you might not need to repair.
What we've seen sometimes
Right.
is buyers will get a seller down on the price, and then they have their own home inspection, and wow, here's a big repair, $4,000 or $5,000.
That seller might have already come down thousands of
As
dollars
much
on
as they
price
can.
or provided thousands of dollars in seller assistance to buyer closing costs. And oh, wow, now we need a roof.
Right.
Yeah.
So best to know, knowledge is power. I mean, and you're going to be negotiating. You're going to be involved in a transaction. So find out as much as you can about that house. Repair the things that any buyer is going to ask you to repair. And then you go into the price negotiation without running as much of a chance of being ambushed when you get to repairs.
No surprises.
Exactly, and that's
Hopefully.
what you don't want.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, sometimes a buyer will get their own inspection too.
But a lot of times we found they'll use that existing inspection, and we always tell our sellers, we'll put the repairs, what you've done to repair per the report. We put that right on top. Okay, this is what.
Here's the report said, and here's what they did.
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's one real critical thing for sellers. There is another one though,
Right.
And that is be realistic about what you price your house at. The biggest common fallacy we hear from sellers is, well,
We can
can always come down.
Right.
But by the time you come down, the right buyer for your house might have already gone and bought another one. So what you want to do is you want to price it as close to market reality as you can. You want to leave a little bit of room for negotiation, but not a lot. If you leave too much room, the right buyer may never see that house. He may buy someone else's house, leaving yours on the market longer.
I see.
So what you want to do is have your realtor, hook up with the local realtor, have them do serious comps for your home. Find out what you're really likely to get for it. You want to know. You want to know what you're really going to get.
And they'll do that. They're happy to do that for you,
it's
right?
free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Free market analysis, and they'll look at your neighborhood. They'll look at similar houses
Right.
That have
and
sold.
that have sold, and they'll be able to give you a good. And we all see a lot of houses. I mean,
Sure,
we're
sure.
out showing buyers.
That's what you do.
That's what we do. So we can walk into a house.
We saw 4 yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 houses that are currently on the market just yesterday.
Right. But now, with all due respect, now my house is special, so I don't know how you can compare anybody else's
We have
house
heard that before.
to my house, because it is unique and it's
is.
worth
And
millions
there
and millions
are-
of dollars.
And it's yours.
It's
Right.
yours.
So
I
how do you
know.
get around
I
that
know.
if you have maybe a seller who's a bit more attached to their
and
their
they
home?
do get attached, but they have to look at it, from a buyer's eyes. That's what we always tell them. Walk through your house with a buyer's eye and say, "Oh, wow!" Because when you live in a house, you ignore things.
Sure.
After a while,
Right.
it's just that's always leaked. That toilet runs. You
gotta jiggle the handle. Just don't worry
jiggle the
about it.
handle.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want. You want to
Right.
go through with a buyer's eye and say what needs to be fixed.
And that's what that analysis can do from an independent third-party view,
Yes.
really,
Yes.
on what your house looks like to somebody else.
Exactly.
Not
Well,
to
it
you.
gives you reality, and then it's up to you to respond to reality.
Listen to your realtor.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
the next step.
Okay.
Take that advice, and you can interview several realtors, see who you're comfortable with, and see what they say, and get referrals from friends and family.
Sure. That makes sense a
Yeah.
lot, too.
Don't allow anyone to gain your business by blowing smoke at you. That's not going to help you at all.
Putting your house. Oh yeah, sure. What do you need to get for
sell it in 2 days.
Yeah.
What do you need, honey?
What do you need?
Right.
Because, and we talked about pricing it right. The first 2 or 3 weeks the house is on the market, those are the most views you're going to get.
And
That's
you
it.
are
That's true.
likely,
That's
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
you are likely to get the most money early on. The earlier offers are generally going to be the best offers, especially if the market is declining slightly, like ours has been for the
And
last
that's what you
couple of years.
think. That's what you know is happening here.
Well,
Or at least from
and
the
when I
data
say
that you see.
that needs to be qualified.
Sure.
Because what I'm talking about primarily is number of sales and median
ranges.
sale price. Those are the things that when we talk about a state of a market, those are two of the things that people talk about the most.
Right. You had sent me some data a little bit too on
Yeah.
the number of listings, and so we can see that little slight
Yeah.
drop.
Exactly.
I don't know
Well,
if it's
April
slight.
last
I
year,
think
what
we're
is
at-
it, 600 versus
I think we have
500 at
503
this point.
right
Right.
now actively.
So I don't know if that's slight or
Yeah.
not. 100
Yeah.
houses. That's the listings. That's a lot.
That's
seems
a
to
lot
me.
in a
What,
market our
17,
size.
18%?
Yeah.
Right.
And this is for the whole market. This isn't
Yeah,
just
it's
Farmington.
San
This
Juan
is San
County.
Juan County.
San Juan County.
All of these statistics are from the San Juan County Board of Realtors.
Right.
They're all based on through the end of March of this year.
Okay.
So they're the most current stats we have right at this point.
We'll have the April
we'll have
stats.
the April stats about the 12th of May.
Okay. All right.
So,
but they're coming out.
that's
But
what
this is
we're
where
looking
we've
at
been.
now.
This is the trend, I guess.
Right,
is
right.
What you're
Right.
telling
We're
So
us.
looking
that
at
is
where we-
actually good news for sellers right now, is that there's not a flood of houses.
No.
Right.
A glut of houses.
Okay. And this is the time of year, isn't it? Summertime
This is-
when we see peak selling and
Generally
buying?
speaking, March through mid-June, late June, are probably the hottest times. Now, we have to qualify that. For like 5 years in a row, not this year, but prior, our biggest quarters were the fourth quarter, right? Where Thanksgiving and Christmas are going
Interesting.
on. So people are always buying and selling houses. And interestingly, compare May to December. May is going to have more number of sales. They're going to have a greater number of sales at any given time. However, if someone is trudging around
In the snow.
in December,
Right.
looking at houses in the snow and the semi-darkness when they get off work at 5:15, they're dead serious.
They're looking.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah,
They're
we
ready
have
to-
a lot
you know-
more just people, let's go look at houses today.
Oh, it's a nice day. Get off at 5. It's
Yeah.
going to be light till 9. So let's go look at houses.
Right.
Yeah.
Understood.
So there's some, it's not all just going to happen in the spring.
Right.
Right.
And the other thing that's changed, I think, in the market too is these online real estate tools, right? That
Oh,
folks
yeah.
can
Oh, that's
search
huge.
and
That's
look.
where everyone starts.
And I
is
think that's where
online.
you say if your house isn't priced right. I mean, if my search is between this number, and you're just $1 more than my top number, I don't see your house.
Yeah.
I don't see your listing.
That's very, very
That's
possible.
very-
So really, for sellers at this point, I would say get with a realtor because you need to know what's going on. Pre-inspection is generally a very good idea because you're entering a very important business transaction with the maximum knowledge that you can get. And you can do some things to help your cause at the beginning instead of waiting and maybe getting ambushed halfway through a transaction.
Then make sure your house is, if you can't do it yourself, hire someone to professionally clean. You want it spick and span. We talk about neutral colors, things like that, because you'll find people will always say, oh, yeah, that's that turquoise carpet house, or that's that. I mean,
Whoops.
that's how
Right.
people describe things. And we had one like that was on the market, and the carpet was nicer and newer, but it was turquoise, and that
The house was a beautiful remodel.
Beautiful, yeah. And so finally, instead of just dropping the price, we convinced the seller, go ahead, change the carpet. They put neutral carpet in. It's sold in the first week.
Wow.
Right after that.
And that's all it took, it seems.
And because buyers really don't have much imagination. I hate to say that, but I mean,
Some
Right.
don't, yeah.
some don't. They can't go in and say, oh gosh, that's just paint. We can
Right.
correct that. And because it is still somewhat of a buyer's market, they don't have to change things. You want your house ready where they don't have to go and mentally, in their head going, okay, now I'm going to have to paint, I'm going to have to do landscaping, I'm going to have to do this.
Right.
These are dollars piling up in their head.
Sure.
So-
And they're adding all that up as they're looking around,
Exactly.
right? And comparing your house to the one down
And
the street.
so the one down the street, man, they walk in, it's ready to go.
Right.
And they're going to see, because we are such a small market, if somebody's qualified to 200,000, they're going to look at everything, that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-garage between 175 and 200. And you better be in the top 1 or 2.
Yeah, because the rest of them are not going to get offers.
Yeah.
The
Right.
ones that are the best couple of houses in terms of price and appeal, the combination of those two things, they're the ones that are going to get the offers. They're the ones that are going to get the quickest and best offers.
And we are seeing multiple offers out there on houses that are ready to go.
Cream puffs.
And cream puffs.
Okay.
People walk in and people go, wow, I thought this was, got 90 days, 120 days on the market, but you see some that are going that first day.
Then it's priced right, and
It's priced right,
it's in
and it's
good
in
shape
good
and
shape.
ready
Yeah.
to go.
That
Interesting.
price right cannot be overemphasized. It simply can't. That is the most important thing for a seller.
Because
Right.
you thought your house was worth, $250,000 3 or 4 years ago.
Or in 2006.
Or in 2006 when
It doesn't matter what it was worth in 2006.
Not anymore.
It just doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And-
you need to know what has sold in the last 6 months that compare to your house.
Right, and that's
you
where that
need to know
market
what's
analysis comes in.
Exactly.
From your
That
realtor.
and what's on the market now that you would be competing with.
Sure.
And go to open houses too. I think that's a great thing if you're planning on selling your
Right.
house.
See
Go
what
and
else-
look around, see what else is out there, especially
good
if there's
point.
one in your neighborhood.
Sure. Now we talked a lot about other real estate markets that are maybe a little hotter than Farmington, and we've seen kind of the booms and busts of the
Yeah.
Phoenixes and the Las Vegases and things along that line. And we haven't seen that here, and we don't really want to see that here because we don't find a lot of folks, or do you, a lot of sellers underwater on their mortgages or things like that, or upside down. Upside down is the term.
Upside down is the term, and yes, we still see
I don't know
that.
we're underwater. We're in the desert, so
Well,
I don't know what
it's the
that
same.
means. But
It's the same
upside
thing.
down.
It's just figurative.
Thank you.
We
Yes.
still see people upside down.
Do
in our
you?
market.
And so they
Yes.
need to
Yeah.
maybe make a certain amount on their house, or they would hope to make a certain
The
amount.
Yeah.
people who get hurt are those folks who have to sell because they're moving, and a lot of them to a hotter market.
Right.
So
They're gonna
so
be
they're
paying higher
having
prices.
to sell their house for lower than what they expected to here, and then buy much higher than they want to there. And that's where the problem comes in. We've had some big companies buy from other big companies and relocate people out. Leslie and I have been involved in a lot
We
of
do a
those.
lot of relocation
See,
work.
sure,
And
right.
they're getting benefits that your ordinary home seller is not getting. So
Right.
you're competing with them too.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Now you sent me a couple more charts, and I want to do look at those before we
Okay.
run out of time this morning.
Yes.
But one is pretty. There's a lot of numbers on this, everybody. If you're watching us on the visual radio
Yeah, so-
platforms here, these are
Okay.
some
Randy can
statistics,
kind of-
right, Randy? Can you
Yes,
walk
let's
us
just
through
look
this?
at a couple here, and that gives that'll give us a better general view.
Right.
If you look, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth row down, median sale price.
Okay.
On the left, you see what happened this March versus last March.
So for our radio audience, let me just read that real quick. So this year it's $169,500, the median sale price. Last March of 18, it was $178,400.
Right, and so that's a downward trend for that month. 1 month is not that significant, but if you continue over to the right,
Look
Yep.
at year-to-date.
year-to-date number at the end of the March, that's a little more reliable because we have 3 months of data.
And now we're only down 1.52.
Right, you're down 1.52% year-to-date on median sale price.
Okay.
That's not huge. And when we talk about you want to have a balanced market, what would be cool is if we could see the median sale price up a couple of percent.
Right.
That's a little bit healthier market. Now, again, that's almost even at 1.52, so that's not real dramatic. It's just a trend.
And that shows us about the average or median price of what's selling out there. Is
Yes.
that,
Right,
is
right.
that a good
Exactly.
note too?
If it's $200,000, that would mean that just as many houses have sold over 200 as have sold under 200. That's what median is, and that's the statistic that the industry generally looks at.
Sure.
Before we move on,
Yes, sir.
I just went back and looked at 2018 versus 2017,
Right.
more historical data. The median sale price from 2017 or from 2018 to 17 dropped 2.86%. So you can see last year and so far this year, we've got a slight decline in median sale price. Now, the number of sales, I don't think that's on this chart. That's on the next one.
I don't think so. Okay.
But if you want to go to the
Let's see. This one?
yes, that one.
Okay.
Now,
These are different price points, right? The number of
Yes.
sale listings go from all the way
Exactly.
down to 0 to 500,000 plus.
if you look all the way to the bottom right, through March, The number of sales, listed properties in San Juan County, is down 18.2%. Now, that is pretty dramatic.
Right.
I look back at 2018 to see trends, and it actually was up 6.6%.
Oh.
So we're hoping that this is an anomaly on the year. We still don't have a lot of data with only 3 months.
Right.
And we're coming into the hotter seasons. So that 18.2, while it's not a comfortable figure, it's not necessarily the end of the world because it's a small statistical universe.
Okay.
While we have this particular document up, or this slide up,
Sure.
Interesting to note, this is a good graph because you can tell what's going on in the various price ranges. And right
What's
now,
selling, what's not selling.
okay, look all the way to the right column. That's your year-to-date change
Yep.
versus 2018. And you can see the positive numbers. You see 50 to 60,000 up there. You see 4 instead of 2 year-to-date. That's a
Right.
small statistical universe. Now you come up to 80,000 to, I'm going to say
80 to
90,
80, yeah.
but basically
Right.
80 to 100,000 or 80 to 90,000 is way up.
Way up. I see
As a
that.
statistical
250%.
percentage.
Yeah.
And then you look at 100 to 120. That's
Yep.
up 20%. Now, a lot of those sales fall into 2 categories. A lot of them are investors buying properties to fix up.
Foreclosures. We still have
Yeah.
quite a few
And-
foreclosures in our
And
market.
foreclosures.
Okay.
So those are the 2 things, foreclosures and investment purchases.
Right.
But anyway, 1 to 120 is up. And then you go further down, the next statistical category that's strong as a percentage is homes over $400,000, up 33%. Now,
Okay.
again, small
Well-
statistical universe.
Right.
But there
But they're
are
up.
price categories that are performing strongly.
And we're seeing higher priced homes selling. So,
Right.
and I think some of that is just the medical community and things like that, people
Sure.
coming in and out.
Well, and are they somewhat of a bargain for the type of
Yeah,
house that you're
exactly.
getting?
A lot
Is
of these
that-
are relocation homes,
Right.
where some of the salaries of administrators and engineers have moved to Texas or North Dakota.
Right.
And some people who are here permanently in the community do get a good deal on that house because the relo company has priced them very aggressively.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what.
So if you're in that market, it's a good time to buy if you're looking
So-
for a more
Right.
expensive house.
You know, we talked about advice for sellers. Let's
Yes.
talk about advice for buyers right now.
Okay.
First of all, this is going to sound cheesy sales, but buy. The interest rates right now are at a 14-month low. For years, we were at historical low interest rates.
And they're still very low.
right.
They are, yeah.
They were
Historically,
creeping
they're
up for
still
a bit,
low.
but they've come back down.
They went up into the into the 5s, and some even in the upper 5s.
Right.
We just were talking to one of the lenders at a closer and the title officer, and they both said that they were seeing deals in the 4s again. Well, that's very encouraging for a buyer because a percentage point in a mortgage interest
Right.
is huge on a monthly payment. So if you can get in the 4s instead of the 5s, you're going to be able to buy a better house for the same amount of money.
Exactly.
So that's one thing that we would advise. If you are strongly considering buying a house in the next year, probably sooner is
And
better
I
than
have
later.
to say, for so many
Right,
people
right.
around the country, it's almost impossible to buy. People are you'll put an offer in, there'll be 30 other offers.
Wow.
And you're
And
competing-
love
and
letters from buyers
they're
to
writing
sellers.
yes, things like that, where please.
Betrothing to their home.
Right. What a
We
great
don't
fit
have
it would
that
be.
here.
Right. We don't have that
Exactly.
here.
We're a great buyer's market, so it really is the time to buy in our area.
That's
Okay.
one advice for buyers. I would say here are a couple of more quick points. Hook up with the local realtor. It's crazy not to because the seller pays the commission in our market. On
So
a
for
home
buyers, it
sale.
doesn't cost you anything
So
to get the
for
expertise
no
and the
money,
knowledge of a realtor.
You've got a buyer has someone who can run comps to them to make sure they're making a reasonable offer on a house.
Right.
So I would say that is
Well,
generally
but
good
even
advice.
before that, go see a lender.
And
Sure.
a local lender,
And local lenders,
we
we
think
really
is a better
believe
way
in,
to
too.
go.
And that pre-qualification and getting your financial part in line, ready to go, that
Yeah.
gives you a stronger
Oh, it's
offer
critical.
when you're ready to
It's
go.
critical.
They know the
It's
seller
terrible
knows
to-
that you've got
it's
the money
terrible
behind
if
you.
you don't know what you can buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then to go out and look at homes for $250,000, you fall in love, you go to your lender, you find out, oh my gosh, I can't afford that house.
Right.
Every other house is going to pale to that house.
Because you've already fallen in
You've
love.
already
Sure.
fallen in love. So please go get pre-qualified, and we do really recommend local lenders.
Yeah.
The interest rates are all about the same, but they're not just an 800 number. if something's going wrong, and there's always going to be dips and, ups and downs in a real estate transaction, you can go into their office and talk to them.
We call it storming the castle.
Storming the castle.
Okay.
You can't storm the castle of an online lender.
No.
Because they will not answer the phone or put you with somebody.
Sometimes when things are getting a little shaky, those return calls are
getting slower,
not happening.
Yeah.
Right.
With the local lender, you can storm the castle if you need to. Now,
and they need good referrals. I mean,
Right.
Quicken, who cares if somebody is mad in Farmington, New Mexico? But
because they may never do another deal in Farmington.
But
as
if
long
you're
as
a
they
local
live.
lender, you've got to do a good job
Yeah.
because they're going to talk to their friends and their neighbors. And if you didn't do a
Generally
good job
speaking, we have a wonderful mortgage industry
do.
here in Farmington.
We really do.
And
Pretty competitive, I would say, right? As you
It's
mentioned, with interest
competitive,
rates and,
Yes.
and they just do,
points and all
most of
that.
them do a wonderful job.
And they have all the
And-
different programs,
Sure.
FHA, VA, conventional loans we're seeing a lot more of because the rates have come down on that.
Right.
Buying a home is just one of the biggest deals you're ever going to be involved in. Don't you want somebody who's handling the money end of it to be here, present, a human on your side? So we always recommend that. Hook up with the realtor, hook up with the local lender, get your financing and goals straight from the beginning. Then when you're looking at houses, you're looking at what you can buy.
Exactly.
Right.
What other advice would you say for buyers that's a good general rule?
Get a home inspection if it's not pre-inspected.
Right.
Know
what you're getting.
And
Okay.
The other thing would be, the biggest common problem that buyers have, you can always ask.
Yeah.
But you
we
know
see them
what?
sometimes come in so low, make a low ball offer, and that
right.
just makes the seller mad.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes they won't come down as much. So we generally encourage people, come in a little bit under,
Right.
but enough for them to think, well, should I counter this? Maybe that's close enough. The seller might say, maybe that's close enough.
Okay.
We
And
had a
that's
buyer-
also what a realtor can help you with too,
Yes.
right?
Oh, exactly.
Would
To
you be
know
able to
what
tell
it's
them
worth.
if
Yeah.
the seller is would see that as an insulting offer or
Yeah,
get upset by that
exactly.
offer or what have you?
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to. We had a buyer one time say, "Well, we're going to make an offer. Don't they say in negotiations what you want to do is come out and hit the other person in the mouth with a baseball bat?" Not a good idea. People aren't inclined to negotiate in a friendly way when you hit them in the mouth with a baseball
And we
bat.
really
suppose
believe in
not.
win-win situations.
Yes.
It
Right.
should be that way.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
Well,
Usually, if someone's looking for a win-lose, everybody loses.
Yeah.
If both sides are looking for a win-win, almost every time everybody wins.
We like happy adoptions.
there you go. That's true. Well, we are out of time this
Wow.
morning, everybody. It
I
went
knew
by.
we'd be able to just.
Right? I know. We should
And if
keep you here
anybody
all morning.
wants to hear more about it, then feel free to
Or
call
if they
us.
have any questions about
Yeah.
this fast-paced conversation,
Yeah.
Right. It has been pretty fast paced, but
feel free to call.
But I think folks maybe that are concerned about the market, and I think, as we said, it is changing. There are challenges and opportunities like there are in
Exactly.
everything.
One door
Exactly.
closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
And so you can sell a house, you can buy a house.
That's right.
And we're excited about Farmington with our mayor. We think he's really got some things on the ball, trying to position us as a retirement community, as an outdoor recreational area. We've got San Juan College here. We always talk about the college.
This
Sure.
college
This
is great.
is
Both
great.
of our kids, I got a shout out here.
All right, we'll let you do that.
You got time
Both
for us
of
to
our
go
kids
shout
went to school here. They both ended up with 4-year degrees because they kept their grades up, because we were mean parents sometimes. They kept their grades up. We paid almost no tuition for 2 4-year
Both of
degrees.
our kids
and a lot of
graduated
that
with no student
education
debt.
happened
Wow.
right here. Our
Huge.
daughter did a 4-year degree, business
Through
degree program
Highlands.
here.
Right.
Through
Highlands.
Highlands. And
That's great.
And then our son,
I
too,
think
and
this,
then went to
this
UNM.
college is one of the best community colleges I've ever seen in my life. And
Well-
sometimes I think because we just kind of take some of the good things for granted.
We think so too. But
Yeah.
thanks for saying that, you guys. And I appreciate you both coming in with your expertise because it's really been very informative for a lot of us. So thank you.
Great.
Sometime when we have more time, we want to talk to you about how you're doing in your house.
Yeah.
What,
Okay.
has it been 2 years now?
Just a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
I love that place.
It's a great place. So thank you again.
Thank you,
Very
Scott.
good.
Thanks.
Randy and Leslie Granger, my guests here on KSJE. We'll be back with more, everybody, in just a moment. Don't go away. The time right now is 8:42. This program is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, who's expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings all year round, now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs patient-ordered testing is available in Farmington at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street. Also in Aztec at San Juan Health Partners Family Medicine at 120 Llanos Street. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.